Board members, we are on agenda item 5 for the day. This is the general legislative session preparation. And we also have, is there a fruit tray? It hasn't arrived yet. I've been tricked. It said 11 a.m. delivery. Sybil, we'll talk later. When that comes, just let you know, we don't have a full lunch prepared, but we do have a veggie tray and some fruit and cookies. We'll take probably 10 minutes to gather and come back. So let's move into agenda item 5.1, requests for statutory changes. And I have, I know that there have been some sent in to staff, but put on your light if you are in queue for that. I've got member Bogus and member Carey. And if we have a list, I don't know how many we have, but to be sensitive of dominating, be mindful of others, right? If you have a list of 25, maybe cut that back to a small few. So let's go with member Bogus, member Carey, then member Earl. Member Bogus.
Thank you, Chair. Staff has my motion. So I move that the board direct staff to work with a legislator to amend the appropriate code lines to address situations in which students have been absent for 10 or more consecutive days under the following circumstances. 1, that their parents have failed to notify the school of their disenrollment. I apologize that says absence of their disenrollment. That no homeschool affidavit has been filed. That no notice has been sent to the school, and that the parents have failed to respond from the school, and that one of the following, there's been no request for records sent, and that there's no record of that child being enrolled in another LEA. And the reason for this motion is last November, we put in a data request to talk about the number of students who have been unenrolled for the 10-day policy under 419, and that number equated to 2,700 students. And those that were found to have re-enrolled in an LEA, and I tried to search for my documentation, Director Buff can correct me if I'm wrong, is 4.2%. And that's not very many kids. And so there's no way of understanding where these young people go. Do they go into the ether? Are they being kept in cages? Are they being trafficked? Well.
I'll get you back to the microphone. Let me get this before we speak to it. Let's make sure we have a second and everything's in order here. So, the motion. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's not. It's a long one. Sorry to interrupt, but please, Member Bogus, go ahead. It's been seconded. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, I think that our staff can do a great job. I think that all these conditions need to be met. If parents enroll their child in the public school system, they have a duty to notify the system of their absences and their unenrollment. We are humans. We're in a human-based business. And if these kids just go and there's no communication, there's no request for records, and there's no data that says they've been enrolled in another LEA, and our systems allow for that information to come through, in the last part, it would say that they would work to amend the appropriate code lines, that a referral shall be made from the LEA to whatever agency is determined to be the appropriate agency to conduct a child welfare check. And again, I think that all of these conditions should be met. I don't think we should be impeding upon people's civil rights. If you file a homeschool affidavit, that is your business. And I think we should honor people's right to educate their children as they see fit. But I do think it's behoove of this board to address this. We have thousands, literally, according to the data request, that these conditions are met, and we don't know what happened to these students. So I would appreciate the board's support, and I look forward to what our staff comes back with to amend these code lines and address this hole in our policy. Thank you.
I've got Vice Chair Bollinger. I've got Jenny. Are you speaking to this? Or are you in? I've put you in the queue. You can turn your light off if you're waiting for motions. And then I've got Member Davis. So Vice Chair Bollinger.
Thank you, Chair. And I do agree with Member Bogus that it is difficult for a school if they don't understand that why a student is not coming to school. My question would be, and maybe this staff can help us address this, is my understanding was this last legislative session in HB 209 that the requirement for a homeschool affidavit was removed and that it's just a one-time letter of intent to homeschool. Am I understanding that correctly?
We're getting yes. I don't know if you want to elaborate, but the thing is yes. Go ahead, Member Bogus.
So if we want to change that language, that's fine, but it's not been removed in as much as if you unenroll your child, you can just not file it. Well, like I said, if you want to change that language to homeschool letter of intent, that's fine. And I can go ahead and acquiesce to that idea. But if you take your child out of school long term, you still have to notify the school with that letter of intent. You can't just child goes missing and nothing is notified to the school. And it might be one time at kindergarten for lifetime, but if your child has been enrolled through grade 3, you still have to file that letter of intent.
Member Davis.
I think a motion like this actually would be helpful with some of our situations we're having in finance committee where we're working on these double enrollments where especially in this space of the UFA where students are taking the UFA but not unenrolling from the LEA, and then we have double monies being paid for two different places.
Okay, so the motion before the board is that the board directs staff to work with the legislator to amend appropriate code lines to address situations in which students have been absent for 10 or more consecutive school days only under the following circumstances. I read that, only under the following circumstances. Parents have failed to notify the school of their disenrollment. No homeschool affidavit has been filed. No notice of unenrollment has been sent to the school, and parents have failed to respond to communications from the school, i.e. email, phone, text, etc. And one of the following: there has been no request for student records, or there is no record of the child being enrolled in any other Utah LEA. In such cases, a referral shall be made to blank for a welfare check. Member Lear?
I have a question for the,
Oh, we have a correction in the motion.
Yes, and I need to express my apologies to Superintendent Nui. The absence was the right word the first time, and I misread it, and I apologize to you for even asking you to change it. Yes, because children can be gone for 2 weeks, but failure to notify is different from notice of unenrollment.
Okay.
So thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, Member Lear.
answers my question with only one minor, in the spirit of Member Bogus's desire for exactitude, that IE should be EG.
Okay. Are we good with EG? I don't
Those are
know if I want to get into this, but
That is to say.
okay. So I just stated the motion. It's before us. I've got Member or Vice Chair Bollinger. Were you talking to this one, and then Member Earl?
Thank you,
I have a
Chair.
question as well.
I would
for
just
Green.
like to make an amendment instead of saying no homeschool affidavit has been filed to change that language to no letter of intent has been filed, just to make sure that it's in alignment with code.
So there's a motion. Will you restate
Yeah,
your motion?
Sure, we want to make sure that it's in an alignment with code, so if it's let's see, because it says provide a one-time initial notification that may include a letter of intent. So initial notification. Deputy Superintendent Nui, what would be the best language there?
So may I just point of information, Chair?
Information, go ahead.
I apologize. I'm not certain, and I want to ask Superintendent Nui. does it matter? Because we're not asking for exact code language. We're asking for them to address a situation, and they're going to bring that code language back to us. So we can haggle over this, and I am very much so a person of the words are important. And I just don't know that it is a place where we need to get super specific right now, because our staff is going to work on that and bring it back to us.
Okay.
That's fair. I can withdraw my motion.
Okay. No motion, no additional amendment on the table then. Member Earl.
Yeah, mine would have been the same thing, as to put the notification in there, because it is different than the affidavit. And I realize you're right, they are going to go back and do that. So it's fine. Although I don't think it's maybe a little bit misleading if the public's watching, and if it goes out, but I think it's fine.
Member Davis.
It does follow in the code saying that you have to have a record. So it can't just be walking past, hey, I'm going to. So
Okay. So we have a motion before us. I'm not going to read it out again. It's on your screen. Let's vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Member Green, you had a comment. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's a minor question for clarification. The last line where it says, in such cases, a referral shall be made to blank for a welfare check. Are we waiting to see what word is placed in the blank space?
Member Bogus, I believe that's to you.
So the answer to that is yes. So in some communities, this would be DCFS. In other more remote communities, it might be to their sheriff or their police officer. And I just would love to know what the appropriate code lines are, where we find a place that this fits, and how our representative body in the Utah Congress wants to deal with that. I'm just trying to make a process and a pathway to make sure that when thousands of kids go unaccounted for, we're doing our due diligence to ensure their safety, and that's all. Does that answer Member Green's question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Member Green. Member Earl.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for this, but I think there's some provisions in here, and I'd like to see how it looks in code before I just want to be clear to the public before I would support this moving to as far as legislation, but I'm interested in what this might look like. So I just want to be really clear. I'm not for all these ideas, but I would be interested in the language. So.
Okay. Seeing no additional lights, let's vote.
Member Bogus.
yes.
Member Bogus is a yes. Member Booth.
Yes.
Member Britton.
Yes.
Member Davis. Yes. Member Davis is a yes. Member Earl. Yes. Member Earl is a yes. Member Green.
Yes.
Member Hall.
Yes.
Member Kelly. Yes. Member Kelly is a yes. Member Carey. Member Carey is a yes. Member Lear.
Yes.
Member Lear is a yes. Member Longacre. Yes. Member Longacre is a yes. Member Reel. Member Reel is a yes. Vice Chair Wood.
Yes.
I am also a yes. Chair Hymas.
Yes.
Chair Hymas is a yes, so that motion carries unanimously.
Okay, next in the queue, I had Member Carey, but I'm not sure if you wanted me to circle back. Member Carey.
And so, Chair, I don't know if we need more information because we're just generating a list of potential priorities, correct?
I believe so. At least help us understand this process again.
So this is for statutory requests. So this is for changes to be made in code that do not require funding changes or additional appropriations. So typically that process goes, first we take it to the Education Interim Committee, our list. They hear those lists of requests. Some they'll put into a committee bill, like last year, Perucci ran a bill that had like 8 different changes to code. If it's not picked up by the Education Interim Committee, then typically policy staff then works with individual legislators to try and get that in other bills. Statutory changes are great because we can make those, you guys can suggest those all the way from now up until the end of the legislative session. There isn't a timeline like there is for funding requests.
And with that, then, I would like to make a motion. And that motion would be that we direct staff to work with legislators on potential amendments to the appropriate Utah code to include a member of the USBE board on the USHE board. And then with permission, I would like to speak to that. And if I could amend a voting member on the USHE board.
Okay, so the proposed motion is that the board direct staff to work with the legislature on potential amendments to the appropriate Utah code to include a member of the USBE board as a voting member on the USHE board. Is that correct, Member Carey?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a second? Second. Back to you, Member Carey.
Thank you. And, we just had a rule where we discussed our teacher educator programs, and those are all administered by USHE schools. And they're training the educators who teach the students in our K through 12 program. And it would be nice just for that to have not only a say, but a vote in how that policy comes about. And then in law and licensing, we just this month considered the first credential program, the Catalyst centers, the list that we have to include of approved programs for the first credential program. So we see this increasing joining of USHE responsibilities and USBE responsibilities. And I think because of that, and what I see as more engagement and required by law, right? I don't know if USHE is asking for this or perhaps even we are, but I know the law requires it. I think that in order to best represent the students and the parents that we have responsibility for, to not only have a seat on USHE, but have that be a voting member. And having sat on the state charter school board as a non-voting member, there is a big difference between having a seat and being a voting member of a body. Thank you, Chair.
Member Davis.
Yeah, I like this. I think it would be helpful to have a voice with USHE. 2 things. One is that we used to have a non-voting member, 2 non-voting members from the USHE board on this board to do the very same thing that you are suggesting, and those were taken away some few years before I got on this board. So, I mean, I would suggest that too, but you probably can't get too big too fast. So maybe you just start with this request. The second thing is, I'm able to resolve most of my parents' concerns. When they come to me, I go to the school, I work it out with the teacher, the principal, the LEA, whatever the problem is. Policy, the only parent concerns that I feel like I haven't been able to really get resolved are problems with USHE type problems with like regent scholarships and different things. And it's just been much harder communicating with that regard, even though I tried and talked to some people, but there's not really a need. So I think this would be really helpful to streamline communication if we're really looking at a full education system.
Okay, so the motion before the board is that the board directs staff to work with the legislature on potential amendments to the appropriate Utah code to include a member of the USBE board as a voting member on the USHE board, USHE board. Let's vote.
Vice Chair Wood,
Yes.
Member Reel. Member
Yes.
Reel is a yes. Member Longacre. Member Longacre is a yes. Member Lear.
Yes.
Member Lear is a yes. Member Carey? Yes. Member Carey is a yes. Member Kelly? Yes. Member Kelly is a yes. Member Hall?
Yes.
Member Green?
Yes.
Member Earl? Yes. Member Earl is a yes. Member Davis? Yes. Member Davis is a yes. Member Britton?
Yes.
Member Booth?
Yes.
Member Bogus? Yes. I am also a yes. Chair Hymas?
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Next in the queue, I've got Member Earl, and then Member Kelly. Are you in the queue as well? Yeah. Okay, so you can turn your light off. I'll put you down. So Member Earl, go ahead.
Yeah, this is with the voted and board local levy, and I'm going to throw a motion out there. I'll send it. Who's doing the? Who am I sending it to? Elise. And then we can argue back and forth. There's all kinds of graphs and everything in your backup. This is just my recommendation based on just some of the information I have, and I can speak to that. So let me send this on. Sorry, before money is budgeted. Okay, here it comes. And it takes about 30 seconds to get there. So this is, my motion would be this, is that the increments are reduced from 20 to 15. That's one. That the amount of money per guarantee is capped, and I'm not sure what that cap would need to be. That it's not, we just don't automatically, the savings from the reducing it to the 15, I would recommend that money goes into the at-risk WPU. So it is benefiting our students in need. And I'm not sure how that falls out though. That I know Dell's been awesome to kind of help us work through this.
Member Earl, let's get a motion.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Let's get that
right there.
motion put together, and then we'll
Okay.
see if it gets a second, and then we can.
Oh, yep. Sorry. Thanks.
No, you're good.
Okay. We'll see if we can.
Just want to make sure it's correct on the screen here. If you'll read through that.
Yeah, if you can put it in the. It need to be is budgeted, but sorry, it was a quick hurry, and I'm like, if it better have a motion out there than it is to try to move each of those moving parts. So then if people want to adjust those, or if we want additional information on those.
Is this correct then?
Yeah, to reduce the guarantee to 15 increments. That's from the 20.
So if you will,
Oh, yeah, sorry, I
read
need a
out.
second.
No, you're fine. Read
Okay.
out your motion as it's on screen.
So this has
then
to,
you'll have it. We'll
yep,
seek
this
a
has to do with
second.
the voted and board local levy. And it's 1, to reduce the guarantee to 15 increments. 2, cap the guarantee amount to a certain amount. And I'm not sure where that would need to fall. That's something we need to play with a little bit. And then use the additional money that used to be going fully into this for that guarantee to increase the at-risk WPU funding. And then 3, under the Truth in Taxation Code, require truth in taxation take place before the money is budgeted for. So you can't.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Yep.
Second. Okay. Member Earl, please.
Yes. Just. Oh yeah.
Point of information, Member Carey.
This talks about use of additional funding. I thought this part of our meeting was just for those requests that didn't involve funding. And I just want to make sure that it's appropriately before us at this time.
This is we're on 5.1 request for statutory changes. There are, and this kind of bleeds in. I know, right?
It's not a definite yes or a
Yeah.
definite no. But I was just buying time for Board Member
It is-
Hall to get
it
situated.
isn't-
But is that
This is not a request for funding. So let me just be clear on that.
understood?
So,
I just want to make sure that it's before us appropriately. So if I could ask staff or council, Chair.
Elise.
Thank you. My understanding is that the goal of this would be funding neutral, that it wouldn't change the appropriation, and so therefore it would just be a code change and a statutory request.
Thank you. So the motion has been stated, it's been seconded. Now Member Earl is going to speak to her motion.
yeah. going from the 20 increments to the 15, it still requires that local input. And I still think we probably need to, the tax code needs to be looked at, because I think we're actually, my question was, I don't think local constituents that are paying property taxes know the difference between a state share and a local share. They don't know the difference. So moving it down to the 20, there were a number of entities that increased their increments this year and their taxes on their constituents, and just said we have to, or we can't get the money that, you know, that the state has appropriated for this. So that's one. Two would be cap the guarantee to a certain amount, meaning that the guarantee, there's amount going into that, but if we capped it at a certain amount, and the difference to go into the at-risk WPU, which would help to better fund that. There's been a promise that that would get so much WPU by 2030 or whatever it is. This would allow the acceleration of that at-risk program. And then number 3, under the Truth in Taxation Code, require truth in taxation take place before the money is budgeted. In other words, what happens often, and I've seen this happen a couple times this year, is that you get to the truth in taxation, and it's already been, the money has already been budgeted back in June. And so they're like, well, what do you want us to take money out of? Well, it's a problem. It's a problem. Constituents are like, okay, it shouldn't be budgeted before you actually pass the taxation increase. And then after that, then it can be amended. A budget can always be amended as a supplemental. So those are my thoughts, but I'm open to whatever.
Okay, thank you.
I'm interested in seeing what it looks like. So,
Member Lear.
I have 2 or 3 questions if the maker of the motion is okay with that. First of all, what's the point? Well, let me ask this first. Let me put it this way. Have you conferred with any LEAs about how this works with their procedures and their comfort level with this?
their comfort level?
Is this something that LEAs would support, or is this something that LEAs are
If you look in your,
not going to like?
I don't know whether they'll like it or, I have no idea. I didn't go out and survey people.
So you didn't survey. That's what I was asking. You did
No,
not
but I did get a lot.
consult.
You've got documentation in your backup that shows how
I
it would.
didn't read, so just summarize for me, please.
You didn't?
I did not. Just summarize
Well,
for me, please.
there's documents that show, because any changes to any formulas will impact people differently. So those are in there, and I don't know that I'm going to summarize them because it just depends on what district you're in. But I know this: I had considerable calls from my constituents in my communities that said, "How can I keep hearing that there's this guaranteed amount, so they're forced to raise the taxes in order to get the money we've already paid for taxes." So it is a constituency concern. This is a response to that. So
Gotcha.
it's not getting rid of money. And I think part of the reason for doing the guarantee is to make sure that certain districts that live in certain areas where the tax burden is different, and you can go through the images, right? Some you can keep a low tax, but you can bring in a lot. I just think that this helps to address some of those concerns where individuals are feeling like while the rate's going down, their tax burden is still increasing. It has not been alleviated. And so I think this tries to address some of that, specifically the 15 increments as the taxes, especially over the last decade or so, not decade even, the last 5 years, that the property values have increased significantly. This helps to bring that back into an alignment instead of keeping it at the 20 increments. It still allows for adequate localized taxing, but it also allows for the taxpayers themselves to have, not continually be vetted against the guarantee.
And can I have one follow-up?
Follow-up?
please?
Go ahead.
I'm not going to vote for this right now until I do my homework and see if there is a support for this among LEAs, or which LEAs support this. But secondly, I'm concerned that and I lost my concern. So
There's not a concern there anymore.
I'm
Don't worry.
not to worry. Nothing that you ever bring would be a concern. So I want more information before I vote yes on this. And, oh, I do remember. So the last question was, is this related at all to the effort of Senator Fillmore's bill to change the property tax direction, the way that property taxes would be
No.
directed?
No. At least that's not my intent. I haven't spoken to him about that.
Okay.
So no, that's not.
It's not related to those efforts.
Well, if you're talking the
has to do
2
with
years
property
versus
tax.
the 6 years, that I'm not touching that. That's something the legislature can, for the hold harmless and stuff.
That's
What?
great. Thank you for the information.
You want to go back to the 6 years?
Okay. Next, I have Member Davis.
Yep. I think I'm on board with number 1. Number 3, I'll just say I'm not, because I want to know how the money's being budgeted before I give my input. I mean, I want to know how the proposed money is going to be used. Just because the money's budgeted doesn't mean it will be spent. And if they don't get it, it won't be spent. But through the chair, can we ask the motion maker, can you talk to us a bit about number 2 and what financial impacts that will have?
If
Member
you give
Earl,
me just
please.
1 second, I just got some feedback from Dell. I just have not looked it up yet. He's suggesting cap the amount appropriated for state funds to the guarantee program to a certain amount and reallocate all savings. Okay, yeah, so I think that's saying the same. Dell has some clear language. Would it be all right if I substitute that in? It's the same intent with the body. Chair?
So you're amending your own motion here to replace
Yeah.
2 with that as highlighted?
Yes. Now,
Is
what was
there-
your question?
Well,
Cindy?
let me just take care of this real quick here. So there is an amendment to replace the current number 2 with a new number 2 that says cap the amount appropriated from state funds to the guarantee program to a certain amount and reallocated any state savings to the guarantee program to the at-risk WPU add-on. Is there a second to that? There's a second. And then let's just, I do feel like it does require some attention, even if Dale, who helped put this together, even if he speaks to that, and I recognize that it could be better, but we're still looking at an entire motion here. So, Member Earl, will you speak to the
Yeah,
amendment?
and I think his is more technically correct, but I do think it's that the guarantee program, one of the things that's happening is that gets larger and larger and larger. What's happening is that it creates more leveraging at the local area. So if it were, let's say it was $300 instead of $73, right? What's going to end up happening is it's going to coercively force localized districts, in order to get tax money that's already paid to taxpayers, to increase in order to get that $300 or per WPU, or well, that's what it is, per WPU. And then if there's the appropriated amount, so whatever the savings are for the guarantee program, that would just be put into the at-risk. I don't know. To me, I don't. Maybe that doesn't need clarification. It feels a little bit self-explanatory, but
That's fair. Is there any opposition to replacing the previous 2 to the new 2? Again, this is not to say that you are voting for the amendment or for the motion, but is there any opposition to replacing this language? Is there any opposition? Okay. If there's no opposition, then let's reword this motion as amended. And now we can go back to speaking to this motion. So I have Member Bogus, Member Carey, Member Davis. Member Bogus, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I believe my question through you is to Mr. Frost. I'm wondering how this would impact, in particular, I'm thinking of districts similar to the Park City School District. Can you direct me to a page where I can look at that or answer that question?
Chair, if I can answer. Dale Frost, Minimum School Program Administrator. If you if you can show the spreadsheet, uh, the motion, if you're trying to look at individual districts, I'd look at the first page on the document titled Vote and Board Local Levy. Sorry, they have all start with the same name. I should have, yeah, possible recommendation scenarios. So yeah, the first one here shows a 5-year phase-in of reducing the increments guaranteed from 20 to 15 and reallocating the money to the at-risk add-on. So it would show you by LEA so the net impact statewide is 0, but there's definitely impacts LEA by LEA. Does that help to answer the question?
Thank you. It does, yes. Let's move to Member Carey.
This would be for the maker of the motion through the chair, and that would be, I thought I understood what 3 was saying until Board Member Davis shared her comments. And so if I could just ask the maker of the motion, what is the issue that she is seeking to address with this language?
Yeah, hopefully, let me see if I can articulate this. What's happening is local districts, LEAs, are saying, oh, we're going to get another, I don't know, let's say $2 million, right, from the truth in taxation that is taking place in August, but they're budgeting that $2 million in their budget for June. So what's happening is when they get to the truth in taxation, they're saying, well, we've already hired 5 people for this, so we've got to pass this. We've got to vote on this for the truth in tax. We've got to vote for the tax increase. Does that make sense? So the tax increase is not voted on until later, but they've budgeted the money before.
No, and I understand that perhaps we don't want them taking action on money that they don't necessarily have. But to Board Member Davis's question, what about like at the Truth and Taxation meetings I attended, the local boards did outline why they needed the money and what they would spend it on. And I found that to be helpful. Now, they didn't indicate that they had hired anyone or took a particular made a financial decision. But I did appreciate knowing that hey, some of this money is going to go to satisfying HB 40 and school security, and other provisions would be used otherwise. So how do we accomplish what you're looking to without punishing individuals for being transparent with their plans to spend the funds?
And just real quick, I think that what you're saying is accurate, but I think what's also taking place is the money's being pre-allocated. When I say pre-allocated, it's allocated in the budget. They'd have to go back and amend their budget because they've already, I've seen this happen where they've already spent the money or the people, and they said, well, would have to tell people, whatever. What you're saying is a clarification as to where the money would go if it was approved. I think those are 2 different things. Where it would be budgeted if they had the money versus already approving the budget and then going through what would then just be a,
Thank you. I think next we have Member Davis.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying they can't propose it if they don't approve it as a potential budget. I mean, they have to agree before they make the proposal that is the budget that they're trying to adopt, and that's what the money would be used for.
Did you have an
I
additional
don't think
question?
it should be encumbered, like contracts made and signed, and now we're going to be in legal problem if, that type of thing. My question is, can we go back to the screen of what LEAs are going to lose if we do this? Is this the 15 increment? Is this in backup? Okay. And then my other question is, if we move forward with this, I wish we would have thought of this a few years ago because it would have been helpful to not, to offset some of these things that we've seen. But now that they've all done it and it's in place, are they going to have to now go back? If this goes into place, will it be moving forward, or will it grandfather all the people who've done all this and put everything into motion because they're required to get the match by the legislature? Now are they going to be required to go back and change everything?
Is that to you, Dale?
Chair, I can answer the question.
Please.
So with any of these proposals, it would be going forward. So let's say there's a district that's levying 20 increments right now because of the current system, and it changes to 15 increments. As valuations increase, those rates will go down, but they would be fully guaranteed according to the new formula if they're above the 15. And so does that answer? So it is going forward.
They could still move, they could still go to the 20%. They wouldn't have to, because they'd be guaranteed the match at 15.
Correct.
Or the additional monies.
And so where you would see more incentive, or a lot of the discussions are those who are at 18 or 19 increments, do you go to 20?
Okay.
Right? And now it'd be 13, 14 increments, do you go to 15?
Then quick last question, Chair. Then why are some of these LEAs losing monies? Why does it show they're losing money in these charts?
The answer is complex because the formula is complex. It all depends on the relative property tax wealth of the district, the population of the district, the number of WPUs. I can go through a couple examples to help you see why that is. And there are a lot of moving pieces and parts. So what any formula change in this program would do is reallocate funding amongst the districts. Whether that, and if that money stays in the program or goes to the at-risk add-on, also changes, the relative mix. So, so all of those things put together are what's showing you the impacts at year 5. And they're not small for LEAs. They're quite large on both the positive and negative side for these districts. And I would also say this is for the majority of districts at the full guarantee level at both levels. It's just 2 different formulas. Some, depending on it, there are a lot of pieces and parts, but it's basically that under the revised formula, certain districts generate more and certain districts generate less. And they can't change that.
Okay.
A lot of winners and losers.
So board members,
Theoretically. I know it should also be.
There we go. Okay. Board members, we are in the middle of this this motion right here. I just want to put a timeline in front of you. We've been on this 5.1 for about, I want to say 35 minutes. And I would like to move on to 5.2 as well, which is funding requests. And so with these, we could spend all day doing these. And what I'm going to propose is that we finish debate on Member Earls. And then next time when we come back, I've got Member Kelly in the queue and Member Bollinger, and we'll just go from there. And if we'll just have to start queuing things up because this is going to be an ongoing agenda item. Okay. So today we're slated to end at 12:30 on this agenda item 5, the legislative session. I'd like to break for 10 minutes or so to let you guys get some snacks and just reset for a second, and then come back to legislative funding. Member Kelly, does that work for you if I put you at the top next time?
The top
Of so when we
is it in the October meeting?
Yes, it would be, yeah. And again, we're gonna see this agenda item on October, November, December. We'll continue on.
I have 2.
Yeah,
And the one I would say I think needs to go on this because it was something we discussed last week. in our
yeah,
board
pull your
meeting.
mic over.
Oh, so,
Yeah, and I don't want to, like I said, if that's not the will of the board, I'm just trying to look at time sensitive. The more we take time here, the less we have for budget. You know what I mean? We're
yeah,
just
I
trying
have
to
two.
balance.
I have two motions. The second motion, I would have no problem moving that to the October agenda. The first one we talked about last week. It's a part of what we talked about with my with the letter with ESSA and what we've talked about there, and I think it would be appropriate to address that one this week.
Well, let's continue on then with this, and we'll see how much time this takes, and we'll go from there. So, as far as the motion that's before us, then it's on the screen. It's that the board directs staff to work with the legislature on potential amendments to the voted and board local levy code to 1, reduce guarantee to 15 increments, 2, cap the amount appropriated from state funds to the guarantee program to a certain amount and reallocate any state savings to the guarantee program to the at-risk WP add-on, and 3, under the Truth in Taxation Code, require truth in taxation take place before the money is budgeted. Member Bogus.
Thank you, sir. I'm wondering if maybe staff, maybe Superintendent Jones can tell me why we don't do our truth and taxation and our budgeting hearing in the same meeting in this state. In many states, they have them at exactly the same time on the same day. Is there a reason we don't do that in Utah?
Scott?
I think it's more in line with the timing of the proposals that mandates or dictates when those meetings occur. They have to have a public hearing, those types of things. I'm not really sure why is my honest answer on why we don't do it is on the same day. I think that there's been concern in the past that when you do things on the same day, if a member of the public misses that particular day, they don't get the benefit of having it scheduled otherwise. Does that help answer the question? I don't think there's really any reason why we don't do it, but I'm not aware of the history or anything along that line.
Okay, I'm going to make an amendment. That's okay.
There's an amendment. Go ahead.
So I move to amend line 3 to say at or before or on or before the money is budgeted. I don't know exactly how that would work, but it doesn't have to be concrete as long as the meaning is sound. And then I would like to add a 4th bullet point. To fully disclose monetary investment funds, savings accounts, etc. And then just ensure that we have honor before the date the money is budgeted or something like that, so that those hearings can be in the same space.
So I want to make sure that you're wanting to change 3, and typically we don't do motions like honor before or something like that. So let's make sure we get that correct.
Well, and I understand that, but we're asking for them to possibly change code. So if we say to the legislature,
I guess I'm just asking, let's get your motion on here
Okay.
instead of having staff guess what you're trying to articulate. Trying to be fair to staff, that's all. They may not see it, but
yeah, that's pretty much it.
so your amendment to this motion is to add on or before to the 3rd bullet, but it would be after, where would it lie?
It would be before the money is budgeted, so that it would read on or before the money is budgeted.
Okay.
I realize there should be an object to that preposition, but I don't want to fully rewrite that sentence. So
Okay.
I'll let Carol do it today.
So that's part one of your motion. Part two is add a fourth bullet point that would read to fully disclose monetary investment funds, savings accounts, etc.
Yes.
Is that correct? Do we have a second? I'm not hearing
Second.
Okay, there's a second. Do you want to speak to that?
I understand the idea of having it take place before. I also understand that having it take place after is horrible. And this is the first state I've ever taught in where they have them on different days. Usually they're all on a singular day. They have to be published with like 30 days notice. You have to have so many hearings coming up to it where the budget is presented before the public. The public has a right to respond, but then the actual hearing takes place on the same day the budget is adopted. So I don't know why we shouldn't have that latitude in working with a legislator, why we can't even offer that. And then lastly, if we all remember the last legislative season, there was the hubbub about the $4 billion in investment accounts that LEAs are hoarding, and you know the press went crazy. Well, some of that money is bond money, it's earmarked money. Some of it is money that's in savings. But I think that a full disclosure of that is necessary at the time that these hearings are had so that we don't have hubbub again and that the public can understand that and they can come and ask questions at that time.
Thank you. Member Earl.
No.
Okay. Member Carey.
Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to make a motion to divide, and if I could speak to it.
Motion to divide. Is there a second? There's a second. Go ahead.
And I like provision 2. I think the language, and I can address these when we discuss each motion if it's divided, but I'm in favor of number 1. Excuse me, I'm against number 1, but in favor of number 2, and I'd like to divide so I could tailor my vote accordingly. Thank you.
Just briefly, because it's taken us a little time to vote today, is there any opposition to dividing? Not hearing any. Let's consider those divided. So we have 2 motions before us. We will take the first one first, and that is to add on or to line 3, so that the new language would now read, under the Truth in Taxation Code, require truth in taxation take place on or before the money is budgeted. Member Carey.
So with the language that's here, I'm going to speak against the motion because I think it defeats the amendment. I'm going to speak against the amendment because I think it defeats the primary purpose of the motion, which is to prevent the budgeting before the actual hearing. And I think the language would muddy that water as I read it. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Earl, sorry, and I'm hearing from the maker of the original motion that it should read on or before the date. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's on there. Okay. Go ahead, Member Earl.
2 things. I do think one of the at least I've been told one of the reasons why it's hard to get to do the truth in taxation earlier than August has to do with the county assessor. When they get the information in spring and then getting that all updated and then getting that to the district and making sure it adheres to the practices. So that might be something worth finding out if that's one of the hindrances is for it being in August, because then they would have the actual rate, then I think there's some time that goes into that. Just an FYI. And one other item. I just want to be clear. This is a starting point. We may, you know what I mean? I'm just giving an motion for a starting point. We may come back next month and go 15 is not the right increments, right? So this is just to begin the discussion so we can be thoughtful. This isn't trying to hurt someone or not hurt, right? It's none of that. It's trying to find a good balance here. So.
Okay, so the motion before us is to amend Member Earl's motion to add on or before the before in the third bullet of Member Earl's motion. Let's vote.
Member Bogus? Member Bogus is a yes. Member Booth?
No.
Member Britton? Member Britton, are you still with us? Okay. Member Davis? Member Earl? Member Earl is a no. Member Green?
Yes.
Member Hall? Member Hall is a yes. Member Kelly?
Yes.
Member Kelly is a yes. Member Carey? Member Carey is a no. Member Lear? Member Lear is abstaining. Member Longacre? Member Longacre is a yes. Member Reel? Is a yes. Vice Chair Wood?
No.
Vice Chair Wood is a no. I am a no, and Chair Hymas?
No.
Chair Hymas is a no. So that motion, 6-4, and 6 against, with 2 abstentions being Member Lear and Member Davis. Let me read those again. We have Member Britton absent.
Okay, so that motion fails. Let's move on to our next amendment, and this is to add the fourth bullet, to amend the motion to add a fourth bullet point that reads, to fully disclose monetary investment funds, savings accounts, etc. Let's vote. Oh, Member Carey.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion. Is an emotion to amend in order? And so when I attended the Truth in Taxation hearings, it appeared that the individuals attending knew the funds that were out there. They were aware of are they TPIF funds and the money in those funds, but what they didn't know was the breakdown. They didn't know, out of the $400 million in this account, how much was allocated for the building, how much was allocated for retirement. And so I would just amend where it says to fully disclose monetary investment funds, saving accounts, etc., and an itemized accounting of those funds. And what I mean by that is just to give the public a better idea, because I think, right, if they are sitting on 400 million, but 356 million is encumbered, people should know that, and they should know what it's encumbered for.
Let's see if we can get a second to that. But before we do, are you wanting to remove the etc., or does that remain?
That was part of the original motion, and I think it was designed to keep it more inclusive. If this were going into a rule, I would, but again, I think this is just giving staff direction generally, so I'd like to keep it more inclusive.
So thank you for that clarity. The motion then is to add at the end of the fourth proposed bullet point and an itemized account of those funds. Do we have a second? We have a second. Do you want to speak to that, Member Carey?
No, I think I already addressed that. I just think providing more transparency, more illumination would be a good thing for the LEAs as well as the taxpayer.
Let's vote.
Member Bogus?
Yes.
Member Bogus is a yes. Member Booth?
Yes.
Member Booth is a yes. Member Britton?
Brinton's a yes.
Member Davis? Member Davis is abstaining. Member Earl? Member Earl is a yes. Member Green?
Yes.
Member Hall? Member Hall is a yes. Member Kelly?
Yes.
Member Kelly is a yes. Member Carey?
Yes.
Member Carey is a yes. Member Lear?
I'm abstaining.
Member Lear is abstaining. Member Longacre? Member Longacre is a yes. Member Reel? Member Reel is a yes. Member Vice Chair Wood?
Yes.
Vice Chair Wood, thank you. I'm also a yes. And Chair Hymas?
Yes.
Chair Hymas is a yes. So that motion passes 13 in favor and 2 abstentions, being Member Davis and Member Lear.
Thank you. This brings us back to Member Bogus's amendment. And so we are looking at this motion as amended, and it would now read to amend the motion to add a 4th bullet point that reads, to fully disclose monetary investment funds, saving accounts, etc., and an itemized accounting of those funds. Member Bogus.
Sorry, I'm just wondering if, and maybe it's a direction directed through you, Chair, to Superintendent Newey, the public treasury investment funds, is that inclusive in this motion? Does it include that? Do we need to amend it to include those funds as well? Or are we all understanding that those are to be included as well?
Scott, can we ask you a question? Is it, okay. Member Bogus, will you repeat that?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so Superintendent Jones, as this motion reads, do we need to amend it to include the PTIF or the Public Treasury Investment Fund language so that we fully understand what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think it would actually help clarify the motion if you did add it, but then I think that's going to open it up to more discussion because I'm not sure we're all at the same understanding of the PTIF as it relates to this particular, motion. Does that make sense? I mean,
It does make sense. Well, then with that understanding, then I would just move to amend it to just add that language after any comma. And we can leave it up for the debate and let the board decide. Thank you. Why am I the only mic
So
that
let's
does that?
make sure that this motion is in
Don't hear that?
how you want it.
I don't know why it does that.
Here, now it won't. So, Member Bogus, will you look at the screen and make sure that your motion is correct?
Public Treasury Investment Fund. I do believe that is the right terminology. Yes. After any comma.
Okay, so the proposed motion is to amend the above motion to add the public treasury investment funds after savings accounts. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Member Bogus?
I appreciate that, Chair. I have nothing more to say. I believe Superintendent Jones answered the question, reason for the motion. We'll just let the body decide. Thanks.
Okay, let's vote.
Vice Chair Wood?
Yes.
Member Reel? Member Reel is Member Reel is a no. Member Longacre? Member Longacre is a yes. Member Lear?
Yes.
Member Lear is a yes. Member Carey?
Yes.
Member Carey is a yes. Member Kelly?
Yes.
Member Kelly is a yes. Member Hall? Yes. Member Hall is a yes. Member Green?
Yes.
Member Earl? Member Earl is a yes. Member Davis? Member Davis is a yes. Member Britton?
Yes.
Member Booth?
Yes.
Member Bogus? Yes. I am also a yes. Chair Hymas?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries 14 in favor, 1 against, that member being Member Real.
So we are back to the amendment, and the motion is to amend the motion to add a 4th bullet point that reads, to fully disclose monetary investment funds, saving accounts, the public treasury investment funds, etc., and an itemized accounting of those funds. Member Davis.
I'm just have to speak against the motion because of the timelines of number 3. I'm not gonna be able to vote for number 3, so I'm not gonna be able to add this.
Okay. Let's vote.
Member Bogus? Yes. Member Bogus is a yes. Member Booth?
No.
Member Booth is a no. Member Britton?
Yes.
Member Britton, thank you. Member Davis? No. Member Davis is a no. Member Earl? Yes. Member Earl is a yes. Member Green?
Yes.
Member Hall? Yes. Member Hall is a yes. Member Kelly?
Yes.
Member Kelly is a yes. Member Carey?
Yes.
Member Carey is a yes. Member Lear?
No.
Member Lear is a no. Member Longacre? Yes. Member Longacre is a yes. Member Reel? No. Member Reel is a no. Vice Chair Wood? Vice Chair Wood, are you still with us?
Yes, sorry. I'm concerned about the timing. I'm a no. Sorry.
Okay, I am a yes, and Chair Hymas?
No.
Chair Hymas is a no. So that motion carries 9 in favor with, let's see, nope, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 against, those being Member Booth, Member Davis, Chair Hymas, Member Lear, Member Reel, and Vice Chair Wood.
So the motion before us then, if we can scroll up and I'll get the entire thing and add that bullet point as I'm reading. I don't know if that's possible. The motion before us is that the board directs staff to work with the legislature on potential amendments to the voted and board local levy code to 1, reduce guarantee to 15 increments. 2, cap the amount appropriated from state funds to the guarantee program to a certain amount and reallocate any state savings to the guarantee program to the at-risk WPU add-on. 3, under the Truth in Taxation Code, require truth in taxation take place before the date the money is budgeted. 4, to fully disclose monetary investment funds, savings accounts, the public treasury investment funds, etc., and an itemized accounting of those funds. Member Davis, and Scott has a hand as well.
Yeah, I would move to postpone this to Finance Committee.
There's a motion to postpone and move to Finance Committee. I'm assuming the October Finance Committee.
Yeah, unless you schedule
I'm not.
another one, a new one. I'll speak to it if I can.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Member Lear and Member Booth. Okay, Member Davis.
Yeah, I think that we need to explore this a little bit further. When we look at the one on the increments, when we lower it from the 20 to the 15, I support having them only have to get to 15, but then now there are all these other complicated formulas that go into play with this, and it adjusts from there. And so I think we need to look at that holistically, what's going to happen inside the formula. Number 2, I think we need to really decide on number 2. There's $290 million in this pot. So do we want the money to go out of it when the 15 goes out and be reallocated? And then there will be certain districts that will get a big boost and others that will get a reduction. So are we sure we want that, or do we want to look at maybe keeping the money in that pot and just being allocated as if it were 20, but being done at a 15? 15 is like a gateway to get in. It's like an entry ticket. The next one is the number 3 and 4. Well, number 3, the locals don't get their assessor money until sometime in June, their assessment information. And so then our budget is due by the end of June. And so it's a very fast turnaround. So we either need to look at, are those dates necessary for things that we have to do, or can we adjust that so that they can fit? They have to give 30-day notice for a truth in taxation. So that's hard to do within a 3-week window, and you can't guarantee when the assessor is going to give you your information. So maybe we need to adjust those dates. And 4, I think, but we need to double check this. I think PTIF are the only ones that aren't already required in code. So I think we need to check that as well before we go and start working with the legislature on all of these things. I think we just need to really think through the formulas, the numbers, the dates, and what's already in code.
I've got Member Lear, then Member Earl.
Yes, I seconded this because I believe it needs more discussion. The districts I represent, one of them benefits, and not that that's all that matters, but one of them benefits, and it's really unclear. Park City's right in the middle, so I'm unclear about that, and I'd like to know more. My greatest concern as I look at this is the different pieces of it. I think that some of them are probably positive, and there are reasons sometimes that LEAs who don't benefit from these kinds of formula changes may still support them for the good of the whole or for other kinds of reasons. But the one I worry about the most is the number 2, because the legislature, if we recommend this to the legislature, there's no guarantee that we might convince the legislators that numbers 1, 2, and 4 are good ideas, but then the legislature doesn't need to send our money to the at-risk WP add-on. It could send it to some other random program that maybe creates bigger problems or work for LEAs, or it's just not something the board supports. So I can't support this in pieces when we don't have certainty that pushing for something would benefit a program that the board favors as a whole.
Member Earl?
It was my understanding that the reason why we move these forward at this time is so we can do thorough vetting, right? That for the next several months, we'll be discussing this. We'll see, right? This isn't it. We're not, okay, go out and find a legislator today. At least the last couple we looked at were that very thing. It was like, let's see what the language would look like. Let's see. But on this one, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, it's a set, right? And the reason why I put a set there is so that we had some starting point. So I don't mind if we have further discussion in finance committee. I do mind if it's going back just to stall or to put it off. If that's the intent, then I'm not for that. If the intent is to ask some deeper questions and look at, because everything we do is the winners and losers. I mean, even this last year with changing from 6 to 2, you had winners and losers, so to speak, but it probably was a good thing not to keep. Anyway, I don't know. I won't go on with that, but that is my point, is I feel like this is a starting point and we have to start somewhere. That's why I picked this. Whether it's the right balance, I don't know. We'll find out as we move forward. So I'm fine if it goes back, but I don't want it not to be addressed. So whatever we need to do for that.
Member Bogus?
I just would speak against this motion, similar to Member Earl's thoughts. We're talking about potential amendments, and our staff is going to bring those back to us, and we're going to vote on them again. I think that this has enough time to get the process started and then to move forward in the process, and I just don't think delaying it 2 weeks is helpful, because it'll go to committee and then it'll be November before the board sees this again. So I would just speak against the motion.
Member Carey?
I just want to let Board Member Davis know the word used was if. So, and to the maker of the motion, no, I was going to make a motion, but I'm not going to now. Thank you.
Member Davis?
Yes. First of all, I don't ever postpone to stall, ever, because I want to get this stuff done. And I think this needs to be addressed. However, what is being suggested is not the language of the motion. Because when we make a motion that we direct staff to work with the legislature on potential amendments, they start working with the legislature on potential amendments. So I think we need to know exactly what we want to ask for before they start working on the code language. Now, if we want to change the motion to say, we direct staff to work on code language changes to bring potential code language changes to bring back to us to decide if we do want to do that with the legislature. And with, I would say, all the other information that we need, like how the formulas would or wouldn't need to change in number 1 and what's already in code in number 4, etc. That's fine. I think we could support that. But to have them start working right now with the legislature, I don't think would be appropriate.
Okay, so the motion has been stated. It's before us. Okay, we have an amendment. Member Davis?
Oh, can I amend, so there's a motion to postpone. I guess I'll have to make the amendment after. I mean, unless, if it passes, we can address it in committee. If it doesn't, we can amend it to bring the language back to consider it before it starts working on.
Okay, so the motion is to postpone this motion to Finance Committee in October. Let's go ahead and vote.
Member Bogus? No. Member Bogus is a no. Member Booth?
Yes.
Member Brinton?
Sorry, is the motion to postpone?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I'm a yes.
Thank you. Member Davis?
Yes.
Member Davis is a yes. Member Earl?
Yes.
Member Earl is a yes. Member Green? Member Green?
Yes, sorry about that. Yes.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Member Hall? Member Hall is a yes. Member Kelly?
Yes.
Member Kelly is a yes. Member Carey?
No.
Member Carey is a no. Member Lear?
Yes.
Member Lear is a yes. Member Longacre? Member Longacre is a yes. Member Reel?
Yes.
Member Reel is a yes. Vice Chair Wood?
Yes.
Vice Chair Wood is a yes. I am also a yes. Chair Hymas?
No.
Chair Hymas is a no. So that motion passes 12 in favor, 3 against. Those members being Member Bogus, Chair Hymas, and Member Carey.
Okay, board members, that is postponed. We are going to take 10 minutes, and when we come back, we are going to jump to agenda item 6, which is readiness, improvement, success, empowerment. This is from 12:30 to 1. I'm trying to be respectful of our time and staff time, and then we can decide after that if we want to stick around and continue on with general legislative session prep. So let's set a timer. We'll be back here in 10 minutes. I believe there's snacks. Where are they at? And just in the hallway? Okay.
Is that okay?